Alrighty, folks, we have the concierge to small business lending, somebody who is continually investing in the business, and he has uncovered the top traits of successful small business owners. I'm looking forward to hearing this list because I'm curious if these might convert to employees or investors. But at the end of the day, Bo, you are the concierge to small business lending for the One Rental at a Time family. What are the top traits for successful small business owners?
Sure. Number one, ability to follow a system. Number two, commitment.
Well, let's go a little slow. Let's go one by one. So, okay. What was number one?
Ability to follow a system. And this is specific to, and relevant to everything, but in the franchise world, the successful candidates usually follow the system and then they excel. If there's 100 franchisees of a certain system, there's always going to be the top 25%. When you look at an FDD, which is a franchise disclosure document, in the item 19, they'll oftentimes show the top 25, the middle barrel, and the bottom barrel. The top people are the real go-getters, the ones that follow the system, follow the playbook.
Yeah. So when I think about, when I think about investors, certainly anybody in the One Rental at a Time family, we have a system, right? Go get a buy box, look at it 20 minutes a day, write disrespectful offers, cash flow day one, 10-year process. So again, I would echo a similar trait can be found in successful One Rental at a Time investors. Okay, that's number one. What do you got for number two?
Commitment to build a culture. Culture is very important, right?
Yeah, you got to get around the right people. You got to get in the right rooms. You got to be a go-giver and 2 ears, 1 mouth. I think there's a lot of that inside the One Rental at a Time family. See it every day in the school community. Culture is important. That's actually why I think the community is doing so well, is because it's like-minded individuals, right? The people that don't get it or feel icky, they leave. They're out. They don't stick around. So I love culture. So big deal. What's number three?
And I think we could relate that to real estate. Let's say we're working on a flip.
Yep.
As a leader, you're building culture with your contractor, with your subs. And oftentimes people miss that, right? They don't have an alignment of interest with their contractor. Yep. That's the biggest thing on a flip you see go wrong, is that there's not an alignment. There wasn't a specific agreements in place. And that's where people go, that's why the construction part of a flip is where people always miss, is because they don't have that culture that they built. So, these correlate to real estate and business, all of these.
I totally agree. What's next?
The next one is effective time management, especially while retaining your W-2 job.
No, exactly. I mean, this is why I really harp on the 20 minutes a day. It's not 2 hours on Saturday. It's 20 minutes a day, because you got to be able to see the daily changes, but you also got to get on with your life. We are very, very busy individuals. We're raising families, working crazy hours, trying to stay fit, trying to keep a happy relationship with our wives and our kids. And you can't take on another part-time job. It's got to be efficient with your time.
Totally. Desire to make a change.
Ooh, we got to have a mission, right? You're going to be putting in a lot of work. You're going to make a lot of sacrifices. You got to have that fire that's burning, so that you can keep going, right? I often talk about, in my world, the first 5 years suck. I don't know what it is in a franchise world. Maybe the first 5 months suck, until you kind of figure out the systems and all of that. So that makes, you got to have that burning desire.
And I also, when I saw your Olivia post that you had completed the marathon, I just thought about, you have to have that laser focus with business, right? When you set out to run that marathon, it's the same thing with real estate investing and business ownership. You have to be laser focused.
Yeah.
And to take, a guy that's 52 years old, and not an active runner.
No.
And to be able to do that, right? That is being laser focused.
Yeah.
So, you have to have that in business.
Totally agree. Love it. All right.
Clearly defined business criteria, AKA your buy box.
Yeah. Yes. I love that one. It all starts with that. I mean, again, a buy box. So many people get the buy box wrong. They hear me rattle off what my buy box was in 2003. but they don't realize the buy box is permission to ignore everything else. You all are distracted by squirrels and butterflies and shiny objects. Not me. 3 or 4 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 car garage between 1,200 and 2,000 square feet in 93703. I didn't even know the rest of Fresno existed other than that search criteria for almost 3 years.
Understanding your why.
I'm telling you, you got to have that burning desire. You got to have that thing that you hold on to, because the days will be hard. The days will be long. You will make mistakes. You'll lose money. People will rip you off. The why doesn't change. The why has got to be bigger than all this other stuff. You got to hold on to that.
And then when you launch the business, setting up your first 12 months, what's that going to look like? What's your 5-year and what's your 10-year going to look like? What's the exit going to look like? What the end in mind?
Mm-hmm. Love that. Love that.
And then the last note I put in there is, if you're married, spousal support. Your spouse needs to be on board, whether they're involved in the business or they're just there to support you. But if they're not celebrating the wins with you, and they're not motivating you to go out to the ORAD events and to get out there and really take action, then you're going to miss a little bit of it. And I think that's going to cause problems if you don't have alignment. Like my wife, for example, is not an entrepreneur by any means, but she supports me. And so you need that support. And I don't know what to do if you don't have that support, but you really need to sit down with your spouse.
I couldn't agree more. And it's actually funny you bring spouses up, because at the ORAD event that we're doing in Vegas on the 15th and 16th of February, both days, Saturday and Sunday, we are starting off with a couple. I think it is so important to see couples do it together, talk about the good, bad, and the ugly, talk about the joint sacrifices, talk about the joint mistakes. You've got to be in it together. Something I wrote in my first book, One Rental at a Time, is your spouse or significant other's got to be on board. I'm not talking 90%. I'm not talking 99%. I'm talking on board. And I say this with so much conviction because, again, if you know my story at all, I take a little bit of money and turn it into a lot. I then lose most of it. I then take the time after a year to find Fresno and find Norris Drive. The story ends well only for one reason. Olivia said, keep going, after my first tenant screwed us. We did everything right. They got divorced. The guy became an alcoholic, an unemployed alcoholic, and destroyed my house. I'm in California. It took me 3 months and $1,000 to get him out. I was ready to give up again. But because Olivia was on board 100%, she said, did we do anything wrong? We didn't. It was just bad luck. And then she said, let's try one more time. And the rest is history. I was ready to give up. She would have whispered mistake. I would have given up. I had no backbone left after seeing that property destroyed. Yeah, your spouse has to be on board.
Yesterday, I was on a discovery call with a couple who had come to one of the webinars I hosted. And she was retired military for 20 years, probably early 50s. Mm-hmm. Husband was in retail his whole life. Probably never doesn't make too much money. But anyways, hardworking couple. And he's going to be able to retire at 55, and then he gets his pension, which will be good. And she has her retirement. But when I was asking him a lot of questions, beautiful couple, and I was really excited because I was just sharing a lot of nuggets with them, like, and then when I got to the financial information, because we're talking about, okay, if you want to buy a franchise, you need the SBA financing, and you're going to need 20 or 30 grand, and it kind of sounded like they didn't have it, right? Mm. And here, here's, I'm sure they do decent, monthly from the retirement and the work, but you work that many years and you have nothing, right? You have nothing. And they were so optimistic after our conversation that I was like, that's what really inspires me. Yeah. And I said, listen, we've got 2 things that I want you to do. One is you've got your VA. Okay. You can go get 100% financing. You've been paying rent for 20 something years. Let's go get a duplex for you. Let's go get a triplex. Live there for free. Get the other 2 units to pay. Okay. You're getting 100%. Let's, as much stuff that was going on with the politics recently. Look, we live in the best country in the world. We have amazing programs out there, FHA, VA, SBA. Take advantage of this. It's here to help you create wealth. And don't just, I know everybody gets these headline news about taxes getting raised and stuff. Learn to understand the tax code. Get around CPAs.
The tax code is a reward system, not a penalty system. It just is. It tells you exactly. And again, I think it's pretty well known that the tax code's going to change again under the next president. We're going to know very clearly what's rewarded and what's not. Just pay attention. Just pay attention.
Yeah. And there's always, for the people that are paying attention, there's ways to reap the rewards no matter what. And so, the outcome though, I'm going to help this couple, and I want to see them 12 months from now or 18 months from now in a duplex, owning their own home, and in a business that they can run out of their home, low overhead, get them in. And so that's really what my, going into 2025, it's like I want to help thousands of people like that. That's really what I want to do. And that,
one of the things I think is really interesting, it'll be interesting because I don't know if you've seen it already. I mean, you're a crazy busy guy. The stock market's raging, rates are up, Bitcoin's flying. It'll be interesting to see if that kind of momentum carries forward, because if it does, the economy is built for builders, right? It's not really built for people to take free money and government handouts. It could be interesting. I know the next 2 years are going to be bumpy and uncomfortable, and you can't be, having $2 trillion in, deficits forever. But again, hope wins, doom doesn't. So I love your mission, right? Help people get into a duplex or a triplex, take the living expense to zero, allow them to save that, rent payment, make that a down payment on a business, use the VA. Thank you for your service. Great advice, Bo. Great advice.
Yeah.
Where can people go if they want to have one of those conversations?
OneRentalMeeting.com. You can schedule your call, and happy to help you, even if you're not ready yet, but we'll get you ready. That's the goal. If you're not ready yet, how do we get you ready? I can, give you some ideas potentially of, a family that's got money that believes in you and will invest with you, and it will make it worthwhile for them as well. So there's lots of ways, guys. Yeah. It's, there's partnerships, there's just be optimistic, keep your credit good, work on the basics, the baby steps. And then, when we'll get you into an opportunity, and then just, you have to go back to the list we went through today and implement that list, and you'll be successful.
Folks, do me a favor. You've heard the list. Leave a comment below on what your favorite one was. It's always fun to get these comments going. So if you can participate, play along, that would be great. Let us know what your favorite one was. Also, get on this mission. If you want to understand what the things about owning a small business or franchise, we've talked vending, we've talked home services, lots of options with the concierge to small business lending. OneRentalMeeting.com, OneRentalMeeting.com, OneRentalMeeting.com. Bo, thank you so much.
Thank you.